Right now is the best time in history to grow on social media. The opportunity is insane. I've never seen anything like this. And I know this because content is all I do all day long. I've made hundreds of videos, billions of views. I even grew from 0 to 50,000 subs in my first 2 months on this channel. So if you feel like you're playing the content game on hard mode and you want it to be easier, these are 6 things you have to change immediately. And if you do, I guarantee you will grow so much faster. Now, the first one is your approach and your mindset. And I start here because if your mindset isn't right, nothing else really matters. But listen, I'm not gonna talk about the high level woo-woo in the cloud stuff because you've heard all that. That's not what you really want. What you really want is the answer. So I'm gonna give you the exact mindset cheat code that I wish someone gave me when I was starting out. Here it is. If you're struggling with content, you either have a self-belief issue or a skills issue, and I'll solve both for you right now. If self-belief is the thing that's holding you back, like you have imposter syndrome or you feel like you're not interesting enough or whatever the negative self-talk you have in your head, here's the truth. You're probably right. We're all imposters until we become the thing we want to become. That's what an imposter is. It's someone who's pretending to be something they're not. So the easiest way to get over those negative thoughts or conquer that imposter syndrome is to just say, okay, I am an imposter. So now what? And the now what is taking the first step to make that untrue, to become the person you want, to become interesting, to become capable, to become great at whatever it is the thing you want to be great at. And so how do you take that first step? Well, in this case, with social media, the first step is to get great at making videos. And all that is reps and skills. And so the question isn't, how do I get over my imposter syndrome? Because you are an imposter. The question really is, do I have the skills today to make great content? And if you're a beginner, of course you don't have the skills because you haven't had enough reps doing the thing. So how could you have the skills already? The reason you feel like an imposter is because you don't yet have the skills to be the person you're pretending to be. So you need to accept that, stop pretending, and focus all your mental energy on getting the reps to build the skills to become the person you want to become. This is the answer. This will solve all your mindset problems. And things will get so much easier mentally when you just accept that this is true. And so now my job, my only job with this channel is to make it easier for you to take better reps and learn those content skills faster. That's all I'm doing here. And so if you've been struggling mentally and haven't been able to get over the hurdle because of mindset, hopefully that will help you. Now for the rest of this video, I'm gonna give you 5 more tactical content cheat codes that'll make it easier to take better reps and build those skills faster. Okay, cheat code number 2 is that you need to learn how to de-risk your effort. Let me explain. When you're starting out making videos, you really have no clue what good or bad looks like. And so you're essentially sitting down, making everything up, pulling a slot machine, and hoping for the best. This is what I call a risky rep. You have a super low probability of hitting a winner. And even if you hit one, you probably wouldn't know why. So you wouldn't be able to extract the winning formula to apply to the next rep. Taking this risky rep approach over and over and over will make you feel like you're wasting your time. You spend 20 hours, no idea what to do, fail. 20 more hours, fail. 20 more hours, fail. And it's really hard to learn and improve when nothing is working. What you really want to be able to do is sit down and when you spend time making a video, have the highest confidence that that will produce a winner. And you want winners because it's easy to win again when you've won originally because you can study the winners. So what you need to feel like you're using your time wisely is the highest probability chance that when you sit down, you'll produce a winner. I call this going viral at will. Now there's a way to do this. It's a cheat code that will give you a much higher hit rate. What you want to do is break down each piece in the video creation process and try to find a validated approach that has already worked, either for you or for someone else in your niche like you. When it comes to a video, you have the following pieces: the idea, the hook, the script writing or storytelling, the recording, the editing, and the visual packaging. Those are the 6 components. So to de-risk each component and give you the best probability chance that you'll succeed, you need to find previous versions of success for each component and use them as an influence when you're making your video. For example, finding ideas that have worked in your niche before will probably have a higher hit rate than just pulling an idea out of your head with 0 validation. It's the same thing for hooks. It's the same thing for thumbnails. If you were to just wing each part, which is what I used to do and what most of you are probably doing, you're multiplying a super low probability of success across each factor, which makes it nearly impossible to create a winner. It really is like a lottery ticket if you approach content like this. Again, you want winners and you want winners on command because when you have a winner, you can extract why it won and apply that winning formula again. So the tactical cheat code is that you need to find other creators or businesses or channels in your niche niche or in your format and rigorously study what they do, how they do it, and why it's working for them. This isn't copying, it's learning and adapting. Every coach in every space would tell you to do this. If the spread offense started working in football, the next season, 10 other coaches are going to be trying it. If a hedge fund tries a brand new strategy and gets 40% returns, the next year, a bunch of new hedge funds pop up trying the same thing. Even on YouTube, this is why tools like 1 of 10, Spotter Studio, View Stats, this is why they exist. They're trying to help you find winners in your space so that you can de-risk your effort. Because when you de-risk each rep, you have a higher hit rate, a faster win rate, and it feels like your time is being well spent. Social media will then feel easier to you, and you have a higher chance that you'll keep going. This is the truth that nobody will tell you. You should be spending as much time researching, extracting, and studying as you do creating for yourself. If you aren't, you're putting a lot more executional risk and pressure that your ideas are amazing ideas, which, if you're a beginner, is probably not the case. And I know this sounds harsh, but I'm trying to tell you what I wish somebody told me while I was spending months after months after months banging my head against the wall, wondering why my original ideas were not working. And they weren't working because I was pulling a slot machine with a super risky rep every single time. The key is to de-risk your effort. By the way, I mentioned this earlier, but the reason I built Wavy World, which is a completely free community for creators and entrepreneurs, is because I'm trying to help everyone learn from everyone else. There's an invite link below in the description. If you're serious about making content, I'd recommend joining. It's completely free. All right, cheat code number 3 is the power of 1% better and incremental improvement. When you're first starting out, you are gonna suck at everything. All 6 of those categories I just mentioned, you're gonna be terrible at all of them. But it's hard to eat an elephant in one sitting. It's so hard to improve at everything at the same time. The best mental framework for getting better at content and improving those skills is to pick one thing at a time and get 1% better from rep to rep. For example, when I started making videos, I didn't like my graphics, my energy on camera, my audio, or the look of the video in the background. All those things I hated. So the first thing I targeted was the graphics. So I just ignored everything else, knowing the other categories would be bad still, and just focused on trying to make the graphics better. That meant I had to go on YouTube and watch Premiere Pro tutorials and ask other creators that were better than me how they did stuff, but I really grinded on trying to make the graphics better. For each of the attributes, I tried to increase the graphics alone, while the other ones stayed low. Whatever I could do, I was just laser focused on the graphics. And after a couple videos slightly improving the graphics, I got to a point where I felt like I had maxed out on what I was capable of for the graphics. So then I moved to the audio, but the graphics ability stayed where it was. Then I started working on the audio and slowly inching it up. The beauty is after a few weeks, all of the categories start to come up together, and all of a sudden you've established a brand new baseline. If you make 100 videos, but you don't actually improve anything from one to the other, you'll be in the same spot at 100 that you were at 1. It's critical that you have incremental improvement every single rep. Now, slight improvements from rep to rep isn't an innovative concept. This is obvious. But the helpful tip is to just focus on one aspect, one category of things until that is as good as you can make it, then move to the next one. Don't keep bouncing around from video to video. Focus on one cluster and get that good first. And the beauty of this is that 1% better is kind of an arbitrary number. Because at the beginning, when everything is bad, maybe one day's improvement is really 5 or 10% better. And then when you get really good, maybe that slight incremental improvement is only 0.01% better. 1% is not the thing. The thing is that you're focusing on getting slightly better every time. And here's one more tactical tip that really helped me. When I tried to implement the 1% better strategy, I found it really hard to get everything done and ship a video every day on time. Because let's say normally it took me like 3 hours to make a video, and that was everything end to end as fast as I could go. Well, when I tried to add something new that I had never done before, I had to learn how to do it, try to figure it out, fail a bunch of times, and then still make the full video. So it was taking way more than 3 hours, and I was eating up all my time with the new thing and wasn't getting the video shipped. I'd get super frustrated. So the strategy I came up with was what I call Pomodoro Plus. Now, Pomodoro timer is a famous 25-minute productivity timer that many gurus talk about. The way I used it was that I would set a 25-minute Pomodoro timer just for the new thing. So before I made the video, I knew I had 3 hours to get that rep done. I would spend 25 minutes just testing the new thing. When that timer hit, if that new thing wasn't done, I would abandon, move on, ship the rep, and come back to it the next day. That way I time boxed my new learning and still ship the rep every day. The most important thing is that you feel like you're making progress and shipping a rep, and so you don't want to abandon shipping while you spend a week perfecting this new skill that's really hard to learn. learn. Instead, time box the new learning, and if you don't finish it, the next day when you get to your time box, you'll finish it then. That's the strategy I used to kind of time control, so I made sure I was continuing to ship while learning new things. All right, cheat code number 4 is that psychology always wins. Making content gets way easier when you just accept the fact that everything works in line with base human psychology. This means if you can understand how humans tend to behave and prefer to think, you can engineer your content to work accordingly. This has been one of the reasons why my videos have worked so well. I'm just genuinely super interested in psychology. It's like a game to me. For example, a base psychology concept is that everyone does everything based on incentives. If you want someone to save your video, give them an incentive with information targeted at solving a core problem, but then deliver it in a way that's super fast and hard for them to consume in one sitting. They will save it for later, and you will get them to save it. Now, I'm not saying that's the best strategy, but if you're working backwards from the optimal outcome, saves, this is how you would do it. Now, the magic really comes when you can combine base human psychology with the most important desired outcome. For example, on YouTube, average view duration is a critical metric that drives most of the retention and growth on the platform. An AVD is basically how long viewers watch your videos for. The longer, the better. If you want people to watch for longer, you need to string them along by re-hooking them and burying important information towards the middle and end of the video. If you know this, then you can use their own psychology against them by teeing up the importance of the thing that will solve their pain point and then giving breadcrumbs throughout, leading to the major outcome at the end. This is an example of how you can use psychology and the preferred outcome together. And this is what all the big creators are doing, you just may not know it. They're all essentially master psychologists running experiments at scale via content. Now, if I get enough comments about the psychology stuff, I'll make another video breaking down all of the little advanced things that I do that make my videos perform so well. The lesson here, though, at a higher level for you to take away right now is that you always want to think in psychology first principles when you're writing the hooks, scripts, and packages for your videos. First, ask yourself, what would my core viewer want most? What is their incentive? And then work backwards from there. You can reverse engineer the demand benefit loop, and that will unlock a lot more attention and a lot more clicks. Now, fortunately, I only use my psychology tricks for good. I'm trying to help people learn. But if you know these tricks, it can actually help you avoid evil actors that are trying to use them against you. I'm telling you, the entire world will be at your fingertips if you can just understand how to apply base psychology. Okay, cheat code number 5 is a big one. It's the solve for overthinking. So many talented people underachieve because they fall into these overthinking spirals. This happened to me for a long time. When you're overthinking, you output less. When you output less, there's less iterative learning. This slows down your speed of growth, and you don't want that. You want to be on easy mode, not hard mode. Overthinking is hard mode. Now, when I was reflecting, the reason I was overthinking really mapped to 2 things. This is probably the same for you. It's either because you're not sure if your strategy is right, or you're worried about what other people will think. On the strategy point, there's a big lesson here. Most people will do the work when they're sure the outcome will come as a result of their effort, but they are hesitant to do it when they don't know if that reward will come. This uncertainty, the fear of wasted effort, is what holds people back. This is hard mode. The way to get over this is to realize that even if you take the wrong strategic step, if your effort is de-risked, you will at least add a learning to the skill stack. And so the results may not come from that particular rep, but at least your competency and your skills got better. This helped me get over the uncertainty and wasted effort problem, so I stopped overthinking and I just started doing. I watched my skills increase regardless of if I was walking in the right direction or not. The beauty of strategy is that most of the best ones can actually be set in like 5 to 10 minutes. You don't actually have to overthink on the strategy. Most people that are overthinking, it's really just procrastination because they're lazy and don't want to do the work. And when you realize this, you can untether and just run straight at it. Chris Williamson and Alex Hormozi say it best. The magic you're looking for is in the work you're avoiding. And so if you're overthinking because of strategy, this is probably why. It turns out that the dopamine receptors release the same chemical when you talk about doing the thing and when you do the thing. And so there's a lot of people that think they're doing something but are surprised when they're not making progress because all they do is talk and think about strategy. Don't be one of these people. This will solve most of your overthinking problems. And if the rest of your overthinking problems are worried about what other people will think, know this. It is so hard to get people to pay attention when you want to. And so the fact that someone will stumble upon your stuff when you don't want them to see it, they won't. So that should solve that problem as well. You shouldn't be worried about overthinking at all. Hopefully this frame helps you get past that. All right, cheat code number 6 is to start with the end in mind to avoid the dead audience trap. Now, the dead audience trap is the biggest mistake I personally made in my first 2 years of doing social media. Essentially, this is when you have a channel of a significant amount of followers or subscribers, but they either aren't concentrated around a specific audience persona or they aren't aligned with the product or service you want to sell. I call this having poor content audience product fit. Let's break this down. If you're making content, you're really doing it for one of 4 reasons. The first reason I call the artist. You genuinely just like the art of making videos and you're really never concerned with making $1 from it. If this is you, this advice is not applying to you. Congrats, you've won. You won the game, you won life. You can move on. Bucket 2, we'll call media. It's you want to build a media business. This is where you make videos about a topic and then you make money from brand deals, affiliates, and AdSense. Bucket 3, we'll call products. You're pretty sure you want to make money from selling products or services. This is where you make videos about a topic, but the goal is to drive a bunch of people down to a funnel to convert on those products or services. And if you make any money on the media stuff, on the brand deals, it's just a bonus. You're not really trying to do it. Bucket 4, we'll call the wanderers. This is you're not really sure what type of business you want to build. You just want to start learning how to make content. You think you're going to start with media and sell brand deals and things like that, and you eventually want to evolve to products and services, but you aren't sure what they're going to be. So those are the 4 main archetypes of people making content. Now I'm going to tell you which ones typically fall into the dead audience trap. Can you guess? For bucket 1, again, artists. You've won the game, see you later. For bucket 2 and 3, if you're pretty disciplined and you know that that's the end business you want to be, you're not going to fall into that trap either because you are starting with the end in mind. Starting with the end in mind is picking the monetization route you want to go and working backwards. And the reason this is important is because when you know how you want to monetize, you can be super precise with your audience match and your content audience product fit. I've made a bunch of videos in the past talking about audience matching, but it's probably the most important topic in social media. I will link that here. The tighter that audience match, the more precision you will have around your buyer persona, the easier it will be to turn attention into dollars. So we're not talking about bucket 1, artists. We're not talking about product or media. Who are we talking about? Bucket 4, wanderers. This is where the dead audience trap comes from. And this was me when I started. I didn't have a product or service. I didn't know what that was going to be. I didn't want to wait to start until I had that because I didn't want to build something that I knew people didn't want. So I wanted to start building an audience, and then I said, I'll sell brand deals on the way up and I'll figure out what products and services they want and pivot to that. That's what I said. That's what a lot of people say. And this is super common and it makes logical sense. But what happened to me is what happens to so many, and that's that social media goes from easy mode on the brand deal side into hard mode. What do I make on the products and services? The audience I ended up building was great for media monetization, 30 to 50K a month, but was not applicable to convert to the products and services route that I wanted to go. To give more context on me, I ended up building a big audience around tech and AI news. But if you really test, the only products or services I could build for that tech and AI news audience was more tech and AI news. I could do a YouTube, I could do a newsletter, I could even do a premium media subscription, but I was kind of forced and stuck into that news lane. I didn't leave myself a ton of optionality on the products and services side, which is where I wanted to go. That's where the real money is. And this is a perfect example of the dead audience trap. It's not that my tech news audience is not valuable. Of course it is. It's not that it's non-monetizable. Of course it is. It's just I cannot now extend into products and services easily for that audience. And the reason I bring this up is because why I felt such hard mode is that this created the creator's dilemma. It's the innovator's dilemma for the creator. Either I could stick with my tech media audience and just do media forever. I could abandon my tech media audience and restart from scratch, or I could try to do both, which would be twice the effort and spread myself half as thin on each initiative. I went to try to do both, but it's been a bear and super hard to do that. The reason I share this as a cheat code is because if you can start with the end in mind and you know how you want to monetize the audience, it will make it so much easier for you to decide what formats, topics, and routes to go. Now, I left this one at the end because this is a little bit more of an advanced tip. If you're just starting out and you don't want to deal with the monetization, don't worry. Just start building on the media route and you'll find this out in a couple years. But I just want to say for those who are on their way, this was a big mistake that I made that created the easy to hard mode transition that I'm just now unwinding. All right, that's all I've got for this video. These cheat codes were kind of a mix of mindset, strategic positioning, as well as frameworks. If you found these helpful, make sure to leave a like and comment down below so I know what I should cover in my next video. And guys, really, there is so much free stuff down in the description below. I'm giving away all of my best stuff for free. Wavy World, Content Department, make sure to subscribe to those things if you want to get better at video. All right, we'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.